Manx Radio's Update with Beth Espey.
Well, first of all, good evening. Welcome to Update here on Manx Radio, where we'll take you through some of the main news of the day before 5:30. So coming up, some services at Ramsey Cottage Hospital are being temporarily moved. We're going to hear from the Manx Care CEO, Teresa Cope, on what this means for patients. Also tonight, a bereaved father who lost both his sons to drug overdoses renews his powerful call for urgent changes to the island's drug policies. Also today, new population data has been released. What does it tell us about how many people are now living on the Isle of Man? And later, a dedicated cold water sea swimmer is gearing up for his annual January challenge. Rather him than me. We'll also have the weather, the traffic and the travel. And if you'd like to get in touch, you can email us studio@manxradio.com. We'll start with a roundup of the main news headlines with Darren Fastamai.
Fastamai. Ongoing remedial work to deal with a pest control problem means a number of services normally delivered at Ramsey Cottage Hospital are to be relocated from Monday 15th December. The work being carried out will include a comprehensive deep cleaning and inspection programme, along with other structural improvements aimed at enhancing patient care. Since Tynwald backed new policy principles looking at ways to reduce the harms associated with drug use, a father who lost his 2 sons to an overdose of MDMA says nothing has been done.
And I'm fed out of telling my story and people thinking that won't happen to them. You bloody well hope it doesn't happen to your family.
This week marks 11 years since Ray Lakeman's sons, Jack and Torrin, died. Neil Vondy, a cold water sea swimmer, will complete his annual 10-minute charity swim at Ramsey Stone Pier as part of the Ramsey RNLI New Year's Dip on the 1st of January. The charity depends on public donations to support its 24-hour rescue lifeboat crews, beach lifeguards across 240 UK beaches, and safety education teams. The Isle of Man's resident population has risen to 84,975 at the end of the first quarter of 2025, the highest figure published since records began. That's up 452 on 2024's estimate, with 219 added in the first quarter of 2025 alone. In international news, a 45-year-old man from North London has admitted 26 child sex offences at the nursery where he worked. Police have called the case against Vincent Chan one of the most harrowing they've come across of its kind. A retired teacher has been spared a prison sentence after being found guilty of abusing girls in her care in Angus in Scotland. 77-year-old Patricia Robertson's crimes span from the late 1960s to the mid-80s. And a High Court hearing that lasted just a minute has spelt the end of rugby league side Salford. They've been wound up over unpaid tax debts. Those are the headlines. News next at 6.
Thanks very much indeed, Darren. So the weather brought to you by Manx Glass and Glazing. There is that yellow weather warning for coastal overtopping. It comes into force at 8:30 and is until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's the usual places: Shore Road in Rushen, the northern end of Douglas Promenade, and also Castletown Promenade as well. The general forecast ends scattered showers this evening. Then tonight those outbreaks of rain will arrive. They will be heavy at times. The winds will increase to strong. Temperatures around about 7 Celsius. Tomorrow is going to start cloudy. Further outbreaks of rain. That will clear to leave a dry and bright afternoon, though. There will be some sunny intervals. The strong southeast wind will veer to the west and ease, and maximum temperatures tomorrow will be around 9.
Manx Glass and Glazing can supply and install single, double and triple glazing. Call 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate. Cruise Bereavement Support Isle of Man offers free and confidential support for anyone grieving, but we can't do it alone. Donate 10 to Cruise and your £10 will help children, young people and adults. Go to cruise.org.im to make a donation.
Visit SMS Trading at 3 St Paul's Square, Ramsey. For flat pack to fully built, new or second-hand furniture. SMS Trading offer all island delivery and man in a van service. Call 315151 or find SMS Trading on Facebook.
At Begode Cattery, we have been caring for animals for over 50 years. As a cattery, we care for customers' cats and treat them as our own. Contact Begode Cattery on 676 947 or find Begode Cattery on Facebook.
Craving authentic Filipino flavours? Visit Casalo Filipino Cuisine. We cook with love and passion. Open Tuesday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eat in or take away. 66 Box Road, Douglas, or call 333 690.
You're listening to Update here on Manx Radio. It's coming up to 5:05. Well, as I've been hearing today, a number of services normally delivered at Ramsey and District Cottage Hospital are going to be temporarily relocated while Manx Care continues to deal with a pest control problem they've got there. The healthcare provider says the work coincides with the completion of pest control measures at Martin Ward, which has been closed since October. And this includes a comprehensive deep cleaning and inspection programme along with other structural improvements. Chief Executive of Manx Care, Teresa Cope, says the work they've been doing is essential.
We've had a pest control issue which we've known about for a few weeks, and we took the decision a few weeks ago to move Martin Ward down to Nobles Hospital and re-provide that service here for a time. That has allowed the Department of Infrastructure to go into that space to refurbish the ward and to eradicate the pest issue there, and that has been incredibly successful. The ward looks absolutely amazing, and we now have that ward handed back to us. But we need to do the same work across the rest of the hospital. So we have put plans in place to use Martin Ward temporarily for some services which will remain delivered from the site, and that's our skin service and some other services. So the blood clinics and the ECG clinics and some of the outpatient services will remain being delivered from Martin Ward. And what we will do is move other services away from the site for a period of time to allow the Department of Infrastructure to bring contractors in to do that work. We are allowing 4 months for that work, and we expect to be back on the hospital site with all services resumed by the end of April next year.
Just how bad has this pest control issue been if it's closed one ward and it's now closing the rest of the hospital essentially?
Well, it's been under constant monitoring. So we've all been working to try and eradicate the issue. And whilst that issue is being eradicated, there is a need for areas of the hospital, the ceiling tiles to be replaced and some of that remedial work to happen. We know it's been safe to continue delivering some of the services there. It wasn't appropriate for us to be able to continue delivering inpatient services there and the work to happen. So again, it's been a team effort to be able to plan how we continue delivering services, but it's really important this work happens for the future safety of services on the Ramsey District Cottage Hospital site.
That's the Manx Care Chief Executive Teresa Cope talking to Amy. There'll be more on this on breakfast tomorrow. There were some concerns raised during Man and Line at lunchtime about whether this would mean that ultimately the plan was to close Ramsey Cottage Hospital. Categorically, Manx Care says that is not the plan, and Teresa Cope will be talking about that on breakfast tomorrow, as I say. 7.5 minutes past 5. The Department of Home Affairs says it's committed to bringing the principles agreed by Tynwald surrounding drug use into practice. Now, a year ago, members backed new policy principles from the Council of Ministers to look at how it can reduce the harms associated with drugs. But Ray Lakeman from Port St Mary, whose 2 sons were found dead in Bolton in 2014 because of a drugs overdose, says not enough is being done.
We had a government policy that was prioritising harm reduction, and nothing's been done. And they make excuses. They say, oh, we've got to do this, we need more evidence, we'll have a committee look. It's taken 10 years to gather that evidence. You should act on it. And I'm fed out of telling my story and people thinking that won't happen to them. You bloody well hope it doesn't happen to your family. Why on earth are they not acting? I doubt really whether any of them have read the John Moore's report. They're basing their feelings on attitudes that were formulated over 75 years ago. Our world is totally different from then.
Stats in 2024 revealed that in the UK there were 5,565 deaths related to drug overdose. On the island, do we have stats?
We do, but it's very hard to get them confirmed. This is a conservative estimate because the last time I asked this question, and it was asked in the House of Keys, the last figures were about 12 a year. I'm just being modest here. It would be about 10. We're not told about the 10%.
Having your own lived experience, is this your way of trying to save others in the future or save other families, other parents in the future?
I can't bring my boys back, but I know what it's like to experience such a horrible... I cannot begin to describe it. I live it every day. My wife lives it every day. We don't want other people to go through it. We talk about harm to the harm drugs do to our communities. We need to think about the harm that is caused, to families.
That's Ray Lakeman talking to Chanel. Ray and Sarah Lakeman, just incredible people. The Department of Home Affairs says the work is prioritised against other commitments the department has made, as well as those commitments, and work is being undertaken by other agencies. It is 5:10 and the Education Minister, Daphne Kane, has spoken out in defence of the Education Amendment Bill 2025 after some severe criticism from some members of the House of Keys. Now, the bill passed its second reading in the Chamber this week, but one MHK spoke for more than 40 minutes criticising numerous aspects of the measure. John Moss has been talking to Mrs Kane.
There are some really excellent measures that enable us to better manage the school system, and I appreciate that some members have concerns, but I hope that we can meet and discuss them and end up with a solid piece of legislation that does bring about positive change in the schools.
But Laurie Hooper spent 45 minutes listing his. It was more than a shopping list. It was a considerable list, wasn't it?
It was. I listened with interest. I hope I've responded to some of his points. There are some policy differences, I think, between where Mr Hooper wants to take it and where the previous bill went and where we are at the moment with this department. Most of the bill is about putting in law the legal enabling powers for the department to do certain things, under which various secondary legislation would be brought forward.
Are you convinced it's all necessary?
Yes, it is. It's a lot slimmed down bill compared with the previous one that was attempted a few years ago. My worry is if it was everything to all members, we would never get it over the line and we wouldn't be able to achieve and deliver some of the really important measures that this bill contains.
You've been promised a lot of amendments, many amendments.
I hear that. Well, we're coming up to the Christmas recess, obviously. It should be due back for the clauses stage, including the amendments, in 2 weeks. We will see what comes forward. As I said to members, of course it could go to committee again and not come forward. My worry is that we would be delaying it, and there are important things. It would be more helpful in one sense to progress the things we could agree on and then perhaps consider other things. But I'm confident that this bill is a good piece of legislation aiming to bring positive change and modernisation to our school system.
That is the Education Minister, Daphne Kane, talking to John there.
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
Now, new population figures are out and they show the Isle of Man continuing to grow, albeit at a modest rate. With me is fan of figures Christian, who's been looking over the details. So, Fastamai, Christian, what can you tell us?
Fastamai, Beth. Well, the estimate is at the end of the first quarter of this year. That sits at 84,975 people, which is actually the highest figure since records began. At the end of 2024, the estimate sat at 84,756. So, in Q1, the island grew by around 219 people.
And if we compare that to the earlier 2024 estimate of 84,523?
Yeah, so that means the island added 452 people between that 2024 estimate and Q1 of this year. But it is important to stress that these numbers are not set in stone. This is an experimental estimate series, mostly built using income tax records, and it replaces previous estimates that the data becomes more complete.
Migration's still doing the heavy lifting though, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. So inward migration since 2021 is estimated at 8,000 people, while 5,800 left in the same period. Most arrivals are working age adults, though, particularly 25 to 44. Many are employed in things like health, hospitality or education. And interestingly, while many think the island mainly attracts those close to retirement, the average age of arrivals here is about 40, so actually younger than the average population age of 44 that was recorded back in 2021 in the census.
But I do understand that 20 to 24 age bracket is still standing out, though.
Yeah, there is still a net loss there. 41 people in 2024, not the biggest number, admittedly, although that is a big improvement on the 127 net loss that was recorded in 2022. The report points to students leaving for UK work after graduating or young professionals heading off island to move their careers along.
So where are most new residents settling then?
Yeah, so Douglas remains the biggest busiest hub, as you might expect. The combined IM1 and IM2 postcodes accounted for 44% of 2024 arrivals. After that, 19% settled in IM9 in the south, Port St Mary, Port Erin, Castletown, Ballasalla, and housing availability seems to be the key factor behind that clustering.
And so then, Christian, the natural population change picture is what?
Still negative. In 2024, 575 births versus 925 deaths. That created a natural decrease of 351. The first quarter of this year also saw 80 more deaths than births.
Christian, thank you very much indeed. You can find all the details of that population report on the Manx Radio website.
Manx Radio Travel, driven by Quayside Tyres and Service Centre.
Nothing on the police pages, just the usual things that are out and about at the moment. In Onken, temporary lights on King Edward Road still. In Port St Mary, the High Street is closed for investigation works. That's between Park Road and Athol Place. In Kirkmichael, all week, temporary lights on the main road through the village. That's near Station Road. In Ramsey, temporary lights on Lazaire Road near Bircham Avenue. And in Laxey, still those temporary lights on the Ramsey Road. All okay down at the airport. The Manxman due into Douglas at around about 5:30. Heading out again for Heysham at 7:15.
Quayside Tyres and Service Centre with 1 year's free engine warranty from Castrol. Get more with Quayside.
It's 5:16. So we seem to talk a lot these days about kids being constantly on their phones and looking at social media. But some students at Ramsey Grammar School have been inspired to put down their phones and pick up a book and a pen instead. And the thing that's piqued their interest is Manx myths and legends. Amy has been along to a special creative writing session that they went to, hosted by the Manx author Kyle Withington. She started off by talking to Head of English Danielle Cummins about why they organised the event.
Our Year 7s have all been studying myths and legends in English since September, and they've had a real degree of engagement and enthusiasm throughout all of our lessons. So this morning Kyle came in and he spoke to the whole year group. He did a really interactive assembly, and then after that we had a workshop where each English teacher had selected 4 students who they believed had been really engaged from the beginning of the school year. So it's just something really that we wanted to celebrate.
I'm Daisy Ferguson. I'm Abby Hughes.
Greer Blackburn.
How much did you know about Manx myths and legends before today?
I knew quite a lot because in Year 6 in my old school we did a whole topic about Manx myths and legends and over Greek mythology and stuff.
Greer, you say you enjoy reading, but is it something that you all do quite regularly? Is it something that, you're all nodding, which is lovely to see, so you all do lots of reading. And do you think it's something that you'll continue doing as you're getting older?
Yeah, I like reading. At school we do lots of reading, like in the back of our English books we keep a record of what pages we're reading.
When it comes to creative writing and using your imaginations and stuff, obviously we're living in a world where technology is changing all the time. Is that something that you guys think about when you're creating, or do you just like to see where your brain takes you and hope for the best?
I just let my hand go and just see what it does.
Hi, so I'm Kyle.
And how important do you think it is to inspire young people to be creative, explore their imaginations and let it run wild?
I think it's particularly important because one of the things that I believe that changes and advancements in technology like AI can't do is give you a sense of place or belonging, which is exactly what these stories are intended for. It's the being able to take ownership of a story like The Beguine of St Trinians, of Sophia Morrison's fairy tales, that can't really be taken away by the advancement of technology. It's about people, it's about place. And so at the end of the session that I was running today, I asked the group to come up with a hero and a villain of their own story and specifically situate it somewhere on the Isle of Man. And just that sense of place built stories that were specifically Manx. It's in them being able to capture that and tell those stories for themselves that I think the oral culture continues. The joy of these stories is something that I really think needs to be captured at around late primary school, early secondary school, and then it stays there, hopefully. So at other points in the future where they meet people who aren't from the Isle of Man or go away from the Isle of Man at all and have to explain what the Isle of Man is, it's these stories that they'll fall back on to really give a sense of the place and its uniqueness.
That is Kyle Withington, the Manx author, talking to Amy there. And we also heard from some of the students and the head of English at Ramsey Grammar, Danielle Cummins. It's coming up to 5:20. And on Man in Line at lunchtime, there was a really lovely call from Michael. It was about the Queen's Pier in Ramsey, and here's part of what he had to say.
I happened to go to see the pier a couple of days ago. In fact, it was raining, and I always have a little peep, at least once a week. I care very much about the progress the people making. And when I went in, they actually allowed me to go in. I went right to the end where we are, and there is the steel for the bay, the bigger bay. The pier has smaller bays, and then there is some wider ones. And to be honest with you, I was nearly in tears. The work these people are doing is so superb. The skills they put in place, these people are given their time, even on a raining day, and for the benefit of the island heritage, which is so important for the future. Heritage is everything in our life. It's a bit like your family tradition. You don't want to forget it. It's very important. So I just want to say big thank you to everyone who is involved. And I hope and pray that lots of people go and see, especially our government people, the MHK, and no, I don't mean the Ramsey one, I mean the overall, because the pier belongs to the island, belongs to the people of the island. It was built by the people of the island, and now the people of the island are refurbishing it, and the work is amazing. So I would urge any government people that happen to be in the vicinity of Ramsey to try to go and see, because the work they're doing is amazing, but with the resources that they have, which is the money that all people are given, it's a slow process.
That was Michael, who called the man in line at lunchtime just to talk about the work that's being done on the Queen's Pier in Ramsey. Now, Neil Vondy is a cold water sea swimmer. He actually works here at Manx Radio, and he will complete his annual 10-minute charity swim at Ramsey Stone Pier, and it's all part of Ramsey RNLI New Year's Dip on the 1st of January. This marks 13 years of the same challenge. He just does it in his running shorts, so he's not even wearing a wetsuit. And the charity really does depend on public donations to support its 24-hour rescue lifeboat crews, beach lifeguards across 240 UK beaches, and the safety education teams as well. Neil has been talking to Christian about where the idea came from.
I was a big runner, but I was watching a programme with my brother-in-law, Andy Murray's training regime, and he was going in ice baths, and I think, I get that. I understand why he's doing that, but I couldn't be faffing around putting ice in the bath all the time. My brother-in-law looked at me, Tom, and he said, "What are you talking about? You've got the sea 2 minutes away from you." And then penny dropped. So I started swimming in the sea.
So have you been practising this at home? Do you have cold baths? Do you have cold showers?
No, and don't bother with that. Just after a run.
Is that because the neighbours might hear shrieking sounds?
Could do. No, I'm often seen getting in my car on my old running shorts and a towel underneath my arm, and I'm heading for the beach.
Is there any sort of kind of special warm-up or ritual that you have to do for this 10-minute sea swim, or is it just straight in shock?
No, I personally always easy in that I wade out to about top chest weight, so I'm used to the water, and then I start swimming. I'm not one of these people that just jump in. I think that's probably a bit dangerous.
Running shorts in the sea in January, that sounds cold.
Funnily enough, February, March are the coldest months. So when you're going in like November, December, it's nowhere near as cold.
So it's more of a jacuzzi or a bit of a spa day for you in January?
Yeah, I mean, it's never warm over here, let's face it.
No, it's not, Neil. No, it's not. You can find out much more on the Manx Radio website. There's also a link to support Neil's fundraising efforts there as well. It is 23 minutes past 5. Sport time now with Rob.
Fast am I. First off today in hockey, Manx competitor Sienna Dunn believes she and the England under-21 women's squad have more to give after a draw in their opening Junior Women's World Cup game in Chile yesterday. England twice fought back from behind to claim a 2-2 draw against China in their first Pool D contest in Santiago. Well, speaking to England Hockey at full-time, Dunn, who's captaining the national side this year, says there's plenty of potential for more as the tournament progresses.
I mean, I think it was a great first game to have, very competitive, very end-to-end, really hard work out there in the sun, but ultimately we made it work, we're happy with the result, and I think we've got some more to give, but that will come throughout the games. I think it's just getting those first game nerves. I mean, there's a lot of girls that this is their first Junior World Cup, majority of our team, so it's just great for them to get their first caps here today, but I'm sure that we're going to grow throughout this tournament.
And England's next match will be against South Africa tomorrow at around 9 a.m. local time. Elsewhere, young Manx motocross rider Torrin Lennon has claimed 2 championship titles whilst competing in Spain this season. In the last month, the Island-born rider has claimed both the Provincial MX Trophy Cordoba and the FAM Andalusian Motocross Championship for his class. Both came within a week of each other, with Lennon wrapping up the Provincial MX Trophy Cordoba on the 23rd of November, whilst he scooped the other crown last Sunday following the final rounds. Or for the first of those, the campaign featured 4 rounds with 2 races in each of those, with Lennon winning 6 of those races, 1 third-place finish and 1 DNF. Meanwhile, the Andalusian Motocross Championship, consisting of 6 rounds with 2 races in each, saw him take top spots in 8 races across the series in total, along with 2 second-place finishes. This has also been the young competitor's first year in both of the championships. And finally, in athletics, 5 Manx records were set by competitors at the recent Manchester Indoor Open. Amy Christian and Ben Sinclair set new benchmarks in the respective senior 600-metre races, Finn Taggart in the under-17 men's 300 metres, Abby Sinclair in the under-17 ladies 600 metres, and Lara Smith in the pole vault.
Thank you very much indeed, Rob. Ever tried pole vault, Rob?
It's a very specialised field. It's something a little bit different. No, not tried it, but I suppose I'll be
just checking.
open.
Oh, you'd try anything. Well, within reason, I suppose. I'll stop talking. That is all from Update this evening. Thank you so much for your company. Coming up next, it is Spotlight with Howard Kane, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council. Then Greatest Hits with Chris Kinley at 9. Andy Wint will be here with Country Roads. And then Dave will be with you with After Hours from 10. So whatever you're doing this evening, have a good one. Remember that yellow weather warning for coastal overtopping comes into force at 8:30. That is until 11 a.m. tomorrow. And Ben and the team will be with you from breakfast at 6. Take care. Have a good evening.